Kristen, you confuse me. You say things that make me want to psychoanalyze you. And also kind of laugh, but hand you a red flag with my number on it. You like a TED Talk on dysfunctional relationships, but with punchlines. That's kind of hot. Not in a she's my crush kind of way, you guys. Relax. In a feral therapist I flirt with while returning protein bars at Whole Foods kind of way. You know what I mean by that? Hope you do. Well, anyhow. She'd probably call me a mansplainer, you guys, honestly. But I prefer the term emotionally advanced. So, Kristen, if you're listening, don't worry. I'm confused too. And I kind of like it that way. Let's start the podcast, you guys.
You guys are listening to the Masculinized Show, a podcast for introverts to become more masculine and get the body of an alpha male. And of course, get more mentally healthy and get that seducer's mindset, if you get me. And lastly, I help guys become more desirable and get the mindset of a seducer. Let's get into the podcast.
Okay, guys, before I start, just do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review. But I'll say right now, I bet you didn't expect that introduction, right? Tipping my hat to my appearance on the How to Get the Girl podcast. Oh, yes, you guys, they changed the title, alright? They totally changed the title and threw in their listeners for a curveball, didn't they? But anyhow, listen to me, you guys. I'm going to tell you right now that I have structured this particular podcast in 5 parts, okay? I'm going to start out with that, alright? First and foremost, you guys, leave me that 5-star review, and I'm going to discuss the 5 parts real quick, okay? The first part is the mask of the Silent Rake, okay? Part 2 is the girls who noticed anyway, okay? You know, like the banter girls, stuff like that. Now, part 3, okay? Shadow work and seduction. Now, part 4 is echo of that podcast, okay? And part 5, maybe a bonus part 6 where I might throw in a Rachel. But anyhow, I want to tell you about part 5. Part 5 is the shadow whisper, okay? Now, brothers, as I said, just leave me that 5-star review and let's start the episode. The mask of the Silent Rake. You ever notice how some guys seduce by putting on a show, laughing really loud, telling even more crazier stories that are blatantly trying to be impressive, a little bit more intense energy, you know what I mean? I can be guilty of that sometimes. Just check out the How to Train Like a Psychopath podcast. But the danger behind that is there's a time and place for that, you guys. So, when it comes to my game as of recently, I've noticed that going dark is the better way to seduce. So I've learned not by doing a million gambits, not by trying to be a dancing monkey, but to go dark. Not that fake edgy shit. No rings on every single finger either. I'm talking about the real shadow. The kind that doesn't trend. The kind that chose me. When I disappeared emotionally, I wasn't ghosting. I was protecting myself. Some nights, I just vanished. Not to punish anyone, no. So don't misinterpret me. Know some woman listening to my podcast? Yes, I have had some one-night stands. But the behind that is I never had malicious vibes going in. That's the key point here, isn't it? Now, because my nervous system was fried, overstimulated, and overused, I cut the noise. And the silence, it did something. Girls who never looked twice started noticing. They paused. They watched. They felt it. even if they couldn't explain it. And then I realized I wasn't really invisible. I was just camouflaged in a world obsessed with volume. So yeah, I am the Silent Rake. I don't really need her attention. I don't really need her applause either. I don't really need her validation, if you will. But when it lands on me, I know exactly what to do with it. So let's keep moving forward. We get to part 2. The girls who noticed anyways. You ever meet one of those girls who laughs with everyone but pauses when you speak? Yeah, I'm talking about those girls, right? I'm talking about those particular girls, okay? The ones who fire off jokes like a machine gun, but when you go quiet, they freeze. I was on a podcast once, hosted by a banter coach. She was sharp, funny as hell, didn't flinch at any of the cocky one-liners I dropped towards the end, right? And I'll say though, just a little observation, all good, no worries. She did pause at the silence. And in that moment, I knew something slipped through. Here's what most people don't realize. Sometimes girls bantering with you isn't always about, just being charming. But sometimes it's about her coping mechanism. Okay? Now, from here on forward, we're not talking about any one particular girl, you guys. We're talking about a generalization here, okay? That is most girls, alright? A lot of girls, right, when they joke, it's how they keep control, okay? It's how they keep control. How they avoid stillness. How they keep you from seeing what they're not ready to feel. They flirt through punchlines. Not because she's charming, no. But because if she ever sat still for a second, that ache might catch up to her. And if you know what you're doing, you don't challenge through the banter, you flirt with it. You tease the defense, not the woman, okay? You flirt with her coping mechanism. You tease the defense, not the woman, okay? You let her think she's in control, but while you start seducing, the very shield she hides behind, you can just say something like this, okay? Careful. If you keep joking like that, I might start to think it's how you avoid intimacy. And you don't flinch. You just smirk. Huge tip there, you guys, on maintaining that masculine frame. You never flinch when you tell your jokes. You don't laugh when you tell your jokes either. You deliver it deadpan, and you just remain completely still. You let her sit in that recognition, because that's how you flirt with a woman's coping mechanism. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to judge it. You just make it feel seen. Does that make sense? And when do you do that exactly? Okay? You bypass her game, because you guys, in case you haven't noticed, there are girls that have game. Okay? Just go out there, you guys. Start talking to girls. They have game. Okay? I'm telling you that through meeting plenty of girls that have game. Now, touch the part of her that doesn't know whether to push you away or pull you in harder. Make sense? You bypass her game and touch the part of her that doesn't know whether to push you away or to pull you in harder. Because when her coping mechanism gets turned on, she doesn't know if she should laugh or even cry, okay? No, you guys, this isn't manipulation, so don't misinterpret me, okay? This is just bringing girls through the full range of emotions. That makes sense? Okay. That's not really game per se. It's called psychic seduction. Now, I'll say this real quick. I want you guys to understand this real quick. Some of you don't really know what psychic seduction is. Go listen to my Universal Psychic Etheric podcast, and you'll learn a lot about that. But let's keep moving forward. So when I talk about girls who noticed, I'm not talking about the ones who smiled first. I'm talking about the ones who slipped for half a second and hoped I didn't catch it, but I always do catch it, you guys. That's also the art of flirting with her coping mechanism. Part 3, brothers. It's time for shadow work and seduction. So, before we dive into this part, I want you to check the show notes. AskClemensCoach.com/AskClemensBlog. 100 plus free articles, now coming up on 200 in the show notes. So, here's what I'm going to say to you guys about this next part, okay? A lot of guys out there, right? They tend to seduce by, being friendly or charming. And they tend to even seduce by being charismatic, right? But I didn't learn to seduce by being charming. I learned to seduce by surviving the things I never told anyone about. Ever heard of shadow work? Oh yeah, you guys. This is my moment of referencing unlocking your dark side to attract women again, because I talked about shadow work with Kristen. But aside from that, is what I'm telling you is not about the healing or journaling prompts per se, okay? It was more for survival. I had to realize that I was holding myself together when my walls were closed in, and I noticed I was slightly disappearing, right? So, what I actually had to say about this section, you guys, is shadow work isn't really about losing yourself. It's about getting to know those hidden sides of yourself. And you want to really know what makes a man seductive? It's not really his wallet or his job title, or whether if you're a successful person that you think you are. No. Sure, that's all great, but what makes a man seductive, you guys, is it's the way he carries his pain without projecting it onto anyone else and making it their responsibility. Okay? That is how I flirt with girls, you guys. Oh yeah, I flirt like someone who's buried versions of himself and came back quieter, a little more dangerous. Not broken, not really that bitter, just sharpened. That makes sense? So when I speak to a woman, I'm not looking for a laugh. I'm not looking for a validation or permission. I'm pulling her shadow forward, deliberately. Like I'm giving her permission to feel the thing she pretends doesn't exist. She doesn't know why she wants to open up. She just does. It's the way I look at her when she's pretending to be fine. It's the silence I leave after a question. Like I already know the answer she's scared to say out loud. Oh, plenty of times I've seen girls give me looks that they don't mean to give me, you guys. Like, one time it was like, I saw this girl look at me like she was like nervous that I found her out. And that's just an example, but let's just say I kind of did put her game together a little bit. Anyways, point being behind this is it's how I touch the version of her she's never let a man see without saying a single word. That's when I mean to say, if she doesn't feel her shadow rise around me, then I'm not the one she'll remember. Okay? Does that make sense? I don't flirt for sport. I don't flirt consistently. That's a mistake, you guys. I know you might hear that podcast a long time ago. You know who, right? The blondie, Hannah. I don't flirt for sport, though. I flirt because it reveals people. I know how to handle what gets revealed. That's why women remember me when they're lying next to someone else trying to recreate a moment they never admitted changed them. That's not ego, you guys. That's what happens when your presence becomes the mirror she can't look away from. Okay, guys, the echo of the podcast is part 4. Now, I am going to be wrapping this up shortly, so keep fucking listening. Alright? Now, those of you who have heard that episode on how to get the girl, I have to be completely frank with you. For once in my life, I actually tried to kind of sort of behave, right? No flirting, no escalation, right? Not even you look like trouble type of squints. But somehow the tension still made it weird. Not in a bad weird, you know what I mean? It's not like a socially weird kind of way. I'm cracking jokes all day. But anyways, just what I'm saying is it's about the energy. You can joke all you want, but if your co-host suddenly stops mid-sentence, her breath catches like she saw a red flag and liked it. You know what I mean? Right? And I'm not saying names, but one of us might have left that particular episode a little more intrigued than they want to admit. But honestly, I gotta be real with all of you. It wasn't just about punchlines and dating hot takes. It was a slow motion stare down, wrapped in sarcasm, disguised as content. The kind where you say, "You're such a dork," and she laughs, but flinches when you go quiet. The kind where you both pretend it's all jokes, but one of you is picturing a first fight that ends in makeouts and goes back to pillow talk. Now that, my friends, is how the Silent Rake does podcasts. Before I get into part 5, I want to let you all know right now that I have my fitness courses in the show notes, so check it right now. But let's get to Shadow Whisper, okay? Again, remember, masculine mindset coach -alpha -body -blueprint URL. Now, this part right here, Shadow Whisper. This is to the women who joke so they can't cry, who flirt so they don't feel seen, who hide behind sarcasm, timing, and that perfect little smirk. I see you. Not the version you post. Not the one who wins every room, right? Shadow Whisper, if you get me. Not the one who wins every single room. The version that sits in silence after everyone's gone. The one that aches quietly. The one who wasn't supposed to feel anything but did anyway. I'm not here to fix her. No, I'm not even here to chase her either. But I will say this. You were never invisible. You were just waiting for someone who knew how to flirt with the part of you've been hiding from everyone else. Okay? So if you felt something tonight, good. That means your defense system just got turned on and I got into your nervous system. That's the first step to letting it surrender. This is for all emotional tethers in the Forbidden Current too, who try to pretend I'm not the reason they flinch in front of mirrors. Let's be honest. Every time you glance at your reflection, I'm the second thought. The first is, I'm so bloated today. The second is, I wonder if you saw my story. Yeah, you're welcome. The mirror doesn't lie, and neither does your reaction every time my name crosses your mind. The mirror's like, girl, please stop pretending you're not still into him. You're fogging me up with thirst. Mirrors are known for trauma, and I'm known for being the reason. So let's all take a moment to celebrate the girls who stare in bathroom glass and secretly wish I was the one behind them. I don't flirt, I reflect. And if the mirror's cracked, it's not because I dropped it, it's because my presence mode made you slip. Someone's about to get naked. This ritual is sealed. You're welcome, girls. You're gonna love that one.